Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your man Darcy, and
This is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today? Or how are you doing today, bro?
I am doing well. It's the end of a long week, and I'm excited to just wind down with a little bit of geeky conversation.
I'm with you on that one. I mean, as our title suggests, we have a lot to talk about, but even I have this has been a long week for me too that had nothing to do with all the stuff that we have to talk about. So, yeah, a geeky conversation seems like the right way to go about things.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. See, like you said, we got so much. What is first?
Before we do that, just a little shout out that our bro Tactix couldn't make it for today. He had an alternative appointment, but nonetheless, he did give some opinions in his group chat, but not enough for us to post here without him. So we are missing him, but we are going to continue, and we're gonna jump right into it. So first bit of, and we're just gonna call this, you know how I would say geeky news and then reactions and reviews. This is just all geeky news, just unending, non-stop levels of geeky news. So and some of them are even interconnected, so I'm gonna try to keep this as together as possible, but knowing us, we're going to be talking about stuff, we're going to be jumping ahead, but we're going to do our best. So just a little piece of housekeeping for those of you who are not watching us live. If there's a particular topic that we're covering for today, in the link you can click the link of the timestamp in our description, go right to it. Now, jumping in, this is more of just a brief announcement for those of you who have not been keeping up with Hollywood news, which is going to have some after effects on literally everything we're going to be talking about. The writer's strike has been going on for a better part of, I think, 2 months. Yeah. And that's the WGA. And they were fighting against basically a lot of corporate bullshit regarding AI and a few other things that we didn't really know about. Well, as of last night, aka today, I think it was last night, the Actors Guild, the SAG, has also decided, in the first time since President Reagan was in charge, so that's 60 years ago, both the writers' strike, both the writers and the actors have all gone on strike together. Excuse me. So that means for writers was one thing. So that meant no shows could really be put into production because they had no writers to do it. But now it's even worse that for whatever has been written so far, there are no actors that can do anything. So just to give you a list of some of the things that the actor strike, the SAG strike, is doing, is they're not allowed to do tours. They cannot do personal appearances. They cannot do interviews. They can't do conventions or fan expos. And, seeing as how San Diego Comic-Con and Toronto Fan Expo is coming, no festivals, no consideration events, no panels, premieres or screenings. In fact, the cast of Oppenheimer actually left their premiere because of the SAG strike. No award shows. Hopefully Emmys won't be affected. No press junkets, no podcast appearances, which is interesting. No social media, which means they can't use Instagram or Twitter to promote anything, and no studio showcases. So essentially Hollywood has come to a complete stop, and the current head, the CEO of Disney, and a few other people have been kind of blaming the writers for making too much of a big deal and causing a lot of trouble. While also we've just found out when the actor strike went ahead, they kind of said that studios wanted to take a AI image of a background actor, pay them for 1 day's work, and then use their image for the rest of existence without paying them. So
yeah,
let's just say that in the current age, we're going to need this is going to be a really interesting next couple of months for us. Thankfully, we have some stuff ahead of time, which is probably why the studios didn't choose to negotiate. They just heavily shoved their screening stuff and their press stuff. But I think they feel safe for the next couple of months. So I guess we're going to see how this plays out in all the things we're going to be talking about throughout the rest of the podcast.
So basically, these conventions coming up is going to be either a lot of cancellations or some really, how do I put it? Like they're gonna throw all their social media people to try to run booths and panels, and it's just gonna be like,
It's just going to be like an next
no,
convention. It's going to be
no.
an old school convention before like celebrities were like, this is the place to be. It's going to be like, oh, okay. Remember when we didn't have celebrities?
And I'm guessing all these conventions are have a no refund policy thing going on because like the convention people, the people running the convention are really in a bad position here because it's like you're gonna take this big cost, right? The place that holds the convention, like the actual facility, is gonna be like, no, we can't rebook this, so you're paying us. It's just gonna be
No.
like, yeah, it's gonna be a sad event. It's gonna be sad all
Yeah.
around.
And looks like Tactix has decided to join us for. It's just like, wow, that's crazy. It is crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so understandably, for the next things we're going to be talking about, this is going to have some effects, some lasting effects.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
on that note, moving on to our next topic. Now, this one is a little piece of, I guess you could say, Markham pride, and also some, on my part, Pakistani pride. So the star of Ms. Marvel, Iman Vellani, who has been like kicking ass in the MCU, who we all are proud of for being Canadian, giving representation, and me personally putting Pakistani Muslims on the map. She just came out yesterday. An article came out this morning, actually, saying that she is going to be working together with a writer named Sabir Parzada, who is and they are going to combine write a series for Miss Marvel. So that means Iman Vellani is not only going to play Ms. Marvel, she's also going to write the reintroduction of Ms. Marvel as a mutant in the comics. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So like when I read that, I was like, holy shit. And I mean, pride, just a whole lot of pride going on right now, and really proud of her. Yay, Markham. And we're all from Markham. Well, no, Darcy's not from Markham, but I'm from Markham, and so is she.
Yeah, I'm definitely not from Markham.
You visited
I drive through. I was gonna say that, but yeah, no. I mean, it's dope because I've heard that the recent Miss Marvel stuff has not been up to snuff in some people's opinion. So it's good to hear that somebody who's deeply connected to it will have a different approach.
Yeah, and our boy Tactix says she seems like an avid comic book fan, so I'm all for this. She's earned a geeky badge of honor, 100%. And Tactix is also from Markham, so like we're giving some represent. And I also liked her quote. She was like, I've never written anything in my life before, but I've read many comics, so I just wrote what I would want to read. And girl, respect to you, all the respect to you. So, all right, moving on to our next topic. Like I said, we got a lot to cover, so we're going to be jumping through these ones. These were just some like announcement news that kind of just happened really recently that we didn't have time for like slides and stuff. Okay, so our first real big of geeky news is the Blue Beetle trailer, the second trailer for Blue Beetle. Now, I have my thoughts on this, but I'm actually interested. So T, if you want to put in the comments what you thought of the Blue Beetle trailer, we'll definitely read those out. But like, Darcy, what are your thoughts on the Blue Beetle seconds trailer?
Yeah, this ain't gonna be a good movie. We were saying pre the podcast, I think that at best this movie's gonna be Aquaman 1 level, and at worst you said Black Adam, and that's fitting. Because like the thing that kills me about this is it's like I see the Spanish family, and I'm like, oh, everything there feels really earnest, but it feels like it's gonna be so popcorn dish in that it's not gonna like land right or something like that, or the best part of the film will be the family, and the superhero part of the film will be the most like meh, part. Like, cool scenes, bro. You know, like there's a scene that reminded me in the first trailer where he does the whole sword swing thing, and people are like, "Oh yeah, that's like the Final Fantasy reference."
Well, he yeah, exactly, yeah.
And for me, just the way that the staging looked, I was like, Power Rangers movie 1. Like, it just, that's what it was like. I'm like, we're both right, is all I'm saying. But yeah, I'm just worried that this is going to be not that hot. And you know, it kills me that, like, how many movies do we have to sit through till we get to the reboot? You know, how many movies do we have to sit through until we see a DC property that's so new that makes everybody go, wait, hold up a second. Like, all the people who'd be like, I don't want to see none of these movies no more. The Flash, Bull. Like, I mean, like the casual person not wanting to see these movies.
Yeah.
We need a big shift. We need a big, like, hold up. Let me just, oh, that looked like Guardians of the Galaxy. Let me go check that out. That looks good. You know, something that, like, they'll make them believe. And how many times do we have to have disbelief before we can get to believing again? And you know, that hurts us. And so I'm hoping I'm wrong and it's an Aquaman 1. But the downside is, if this is good, like, let's just say this was good. Let's just say this was a smash. Wonder Woman 1, okay? Smash. Yeah. And then we're just going to change the tone. Like, how, no matter which way this goes, it doesn't benefit us unless James Gunn has a really good way of tying the tone off from this and Aquaman 2 into his movie, and yet at the same time breathe new life without it feeling like, you know, like it's the old stuff, but it also doesn't feel entirely disconnected. Otherwise, it's going to be like, if we hype this up in the last 2 films, if this movie and Aquaman 2 are smashes, and then we just change the game, like, that doesn't help. So,
okay, I'm gonna come back to that point. I'm just gonna give my quick 2 cents. However, I'm gonna put T up on the screen saying Tactix was saying they don't care about this trailer, barely any advertisement for it.
Facts.
I mean, 100% facts. When we were looking for pictures for our slides, I mean, there's a reason why we have this up and like only like a couple other photos on. There's not a lot. Like, I think this is even fan art, but like at the same time, It looks cool. So like, I mean, we had to use fan art for our slides. Just putting it out there. So T is right on that front. In terms of what I thought about the trailer, I want this to do well. As a minority individual myself, and also with the success of Miss Marvel, but barely anyone saw that. I don't want that to happen with Blue Beetle. I would like it to, like, be good, be one, like, let's use like Wonder Woman, like, level, if not Aquaman, or even the first Shazam. Give me the first Shazam in terms of quality, but like people enjoying it and like coming to see it and like it making a profit, like something where, like, yeah, with Shazam, most people forgot about it afterwards, but it wasn't a bad film. So give me that.
Yeah, I honestly, now that you say that, I think it's going to be a Shazam film.
I hope.
Because you like that more than me.
Granted.
Which is a weird reversal, by the way. But
I know.
But so that's where I feel like this is going to land. You know what I mean?
Let it land there. Because at the very least, like, I know a lot of people. I think even Tactix really likes this actor because he's from the Karate Kid series. Oh my god, I'm blanking on it. Cobra Kai.
There it is.
Thank you. Yeah. So like this guy's from Cobra Kai. And I know other people, like, this is his big breakout role. There's a lot of focus on Hispanic.
Sorry, Tactix comment. let me put that on screen.
So Tactix says, a Blue Beetle going to give us blue balls, tease us with a good time, but at the end of the night, we won't deliver the goods. That's what we're afraid of. And yes, Tactix, I eventually got it right. But yeah, so I want this to do well. I want the Hispanic community to have their representation because, like, literally this is their biggest superhero. And like, he's not a weak one. Like, he could, if at his like prime, he could take on a Green Lantern.
Yeah. Yeah,
So like this isn't a
kind of
weak
is like a Green Lantern in a way, like in a more mech Iron Man-ish way.
So the Reach, the species that created the Scarab, they are like mortal enemies of the Green Lantern.
That makes sense now.
Exactly. So like of course they would make something that would be able to counter it. So like this is a damaged Scarab that has taken over like Jaime Reyes, and he is supposed to be like basically a pre-badass superhero who has the potential to being at the level of Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So they say a small character for the Hispanic community. Like we got Ms. Marvel, like, and I would say like her powers are versatile, but she ain't like a big level a level hitter. She's awesome. She's great. We love her. But like in terms of power, she's impressive, but she's not like a big hitter. He can be a big hitter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's done great depiction of him in Young Justice.
Yeah. Okay. So second season Young Justice, because I've only saw like bits and pieces of season 3 and I haven't gone past that. But season 2 of Young Justice had Jaime Reyes as a Blue Beetle on point. He was like bad and like took on the Young Justice crew. He was good and like fought Black Beetle, and like no, like you can't give us Young Justice level Jaime Reyes and give us disrespect for the live action. But if I'm being honest, yeah, that trailer didn't fill me with confidence. Just like this picture probably doesn't fill anyone who's planning on hiring this kid with confidence. I want it to do well, but this feels still really big DCEU vibes. And like they need to, and now going to like your point, Darcy, and I'm sure you agree with me on this one, and you may have had a different point. I may have mistook it the right, but the way I see it is James Gunn is capable enough that he can take any direction pre his role, because like technically speaking, Blue Beetle is the first movie of the DCU, followed by Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. So yeah, those two are going to have DCEU vibes in there, even though they're technically DCU. But I believe Gunn is able to use those and like work it with his style, with his story, with his vision. I believe in him to do that. Look what he did with Peacemaker. Look what he did with the Suicide Squad.
You know, those are strong facts. Those are strong facts, and I absolutely agree with you. I think he has that capability. The point that the more I was trying to get at is. There's two problems we have, or one problem that can go in two different directions. The problem is he's going to reboot it, right? He's either going to change the tone dramatically, or he's going to weave it where it feels like it starts on this tone, like off of the tone that we have, and it goes into something like brand new over time, and the whole tone changes, right? He'll have. That's not my point yet.
No, I wanted to understand something. What do you mean by tone? Like, because like each film, even in the MCU, each of the films have different tones.
Feeling like it's connected cinematically, like they are actually in the same universe.
Okay, I'm with you now. The feel, you mean?
Yeah, the cinematic feel, the connectivity of the universe.
I'm with you now. Sorry,
but the problem is the time between now and then. So let's just say, hypothetically, another decision was made and we just ended all the movies and they said, we're just taking a big gap of time, right? That would hurt, but at the same time, we would have nothing. And when they announce something new, we would probably be scrambling just to hear about it, right? You know, like to a person in the desert looking for water, right? But we have a problem where we're going to continue to get new content. And there's two paths that this can go. We get more problems, as in this movie's decent, Aquaman sucks. This movie sucks, Aquaman's decent, right? Or they both suck, right? Or let's just say there's a super smash on between these two next films, right? Super smash that makes people go, I want more like that. But that's not what we're getting next. So it's like either way, we can kind of creating a problem. Which is worse of a problem? To make people want more and then not give it to them, or to give people more crap and to push them away, before you give them the good stuff. That's kind of the thing that I'm like realizing with how much the fact we have more movies coming out before we get to the new version that we believe is going to be better. And that's a tough spot to be in.
You're right. That's actually, yeah. I will say that Superman is a smart move on Gunn's part, because like no matter what, even the most layman of individuals will know who Superman is, and if that's where he's like he's really taking charge of it for his tone, people might be like will just ignore the rest. Possibly.
Yeah, that's a good point, because if you just come with something hot with Superman, that might just be like, whoa, Superman? Because Superman's what, the first superhero, like in comic history, right? Yeah, and so he's the most recognizable.
Most recognizable, yeah. Tactix is going out with a very strong statement. He's like, "Fuck this Blue Beetle shit. You know what I really want? What we really want? Batman Beyond." We'll say he wrong.
I want Batman Beyond, but to be honest, Tactix, I'm gonna disagree a little bit, in that I don't want Batman Beyond right now, because I don't want Batman Beyond, even off of the fact that we had, and I absolutely love the Batman we just got, our OG. I'm forgetting the name right now.
Michael Keaton.
I was hoping she was gonna help me out. I was just like the OG, and I was just waiting for you to just intersect that.
Michael Keaton, the OG Michael Keaton.
Yeah, you know how I am with names. That's a trend on this podcast. But as much as I want like Michael Keaton to play off into a Batman Beyond character, and I think with multiversal stuff we could always bring him back and do something for that. The thing is that I don't feel we've set up a good enough foundation. We haven't set up a good enough table to serve as the dinner of the Batman Beyond that we deserve. And if Batman Beyond came off the strength of that last Flash film, no, like I
agree with you.
I'd just be mad.
Honestly, if like, I mean, like this chapter or phase, Gods and Monsters, that Gunn is doing for the first one, clearly Batman Beyond, if it's going to be made, it's going to be later, like phase 2, because like they get Batman Brave and Bold out there and kind of like use that as and show that like he's now the old man Bruce Wayne. I'm willing to wait. I'm worried about it. And so Tactix is saying we've had women Batman movies with the same format. The upcoming Batman Robin could be a change of pace, but it's time for a change. We've had many. Okay, I'm glad. I was like, we have?
We had the TV show. I was like, maybe he's referencing that.
I thought he was talking about the animated Batwoman movie. I was like, is that really a lot though, Tactix? Well, okay, no. Thank you for sorry about the typo, but I'm glad I get it. Okay, yeah. So nonetheless, like Batman Beyond we want, but we just want it at the right time. Tactix wants it right now. The two of us are kind of on the same page. Blue Beetle, we just pray that it's good, but we don't think it is based on that trailer. Anyway, so Darcy, before I move on.
I was just gonna say I think it's gonna be decent. At most, I hope it's just worth the price of the popcorn.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's get like some positive money in with Hispanic and multicultural representation. So, topic. The second trailer, or I should say the full trailer for the Ahsoka series coming out on Disney Plus, also dropped. And like I said, guys, like a lot, like because of the upcoming SAG one, they like dropped trailers like a motherfucker as best they can in the last week. Mm-hmm. So Ahsoka came out, and I'm gonna say I'm getting hyped for this show. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Rosario Dawson. I'm a relative decent fan of Ahsoka herself. I mean, Ray Stevenson's passed away. He's playing one of the main villains. But like, I want to get me some Thrawn. live
Yeah.
action Thrawn. Like that
Yeah.
shit is where I am living. And then, so that was my attraction to Ahsoka. I'm like, I'm gonna see some live action Thrawn. They got not Matt Mikkelsen, sorry. Oh my god,
His
his
brother.
brother. Yeah,
They got a Mickelson. That's all.
they gotta add Mikkelsen. I know he starts with the like Lars. I was off. Lars Mikkelsen. They got Lars Mikkelsen coming back for Thrawn. But watching this trailer, I was like, yo, not only are they gonna do Thrawn, but they're also like this series. I have a high belief that Tactix will even enjoy because not only does it got the lightsaber action that he needs, they're going into the spiritual force shit that they did in Star Wars. Not even Rebels. It was Clone Wars. It was Clone Wars where they had
doesn't
like
even know, he doesn't even know how much the spiritual stuff there is in the Clone Wars. There's a lot of good stuff. I mean, Tactics, for if you're listening at the moment still, the very first episode of Clone Wars with Yoda, like you'll love that episode right out the gate. It's the strongest way to start a series for Star Wars, and the Yoda just owning people with his spirituality and yet also physical abilities. Amazing.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing from this trailer is that they're bringing in the fact that we met the father, the brother, and the sister.
Yes.
Yeah, because like you're seeing those symbols all over the place, and like apparently Ahsoka is trying to find Grand Admiral Thrawn. Apparently he's like, "Yo, I'm coming because I'm going to be the heir to the Empire." I am all in for this. But Darcy, like, how about you, man? Like, what did you feel of this trailer?
First off, Rosario Dawson's in this movie or in this show, so I'm seeing it. Like that's a given. Like I mean, look at her, just straight gorgeous.
That is a shot. That is a shot.
Yeah, I mean that's called a power pose. This is due time. I mean, Ahsoka is essentially like, and this is a weird comparison, but Ahsoka is like, why am I forgetting all the names when I know what I want to say and I cannot remember the person's name in the
I
middle.
need a little bit more to help you, bro.
Oh no, I know you absolutely need more. Joker's sidekick.
Harley Quinn?
Thank you. So in the way that Harley Quinn was a made-up character for a show and then became this gigantic, like, must-be-around staple character, Ahsoka is that to Anakin, made for the Clone Wars, and is equal in how much you love watching Anakin in Clone Wars. You love watching her character, and it's such a good time to see this. Like another comparison, she's a Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Right? Like it just in like this character who's created and is becoming as big as every other character. She's as big as a Skywalker in my opinion. Like that's just how it is. And she was raised by a Skywalker, so that tells you a lot. And so I'm just super looking forward to this. I don't like what we've seen of her character played by Rosario has not been amiss. Okay.
No.
And so I am all the way in. And the fact you're talking about, I didn't quite realize I missed it, but the father, the mother, the brother, the sister, Takis, you are going to enjoy that part because that is literally spirituality personified and having in Clone Wars, they actually have direct conversation with like going into the spiritual realm and talking to the spiritual like creators, which is what these are, and posing a lot of very interesting and difficult questions, and very, very powerful episode in Clone Wars. And so if they bring elements of that into this, it's definitely going to make it more enjoyable. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to this. Plus all the Rebel stuff that they're bringing into this too.
Yeah.
Like that's just at another level.
I heard that Dave Filoni said that this is not even an Ahsoka series. This is like a sequel series, or basically the 4th season of Rebels.
Oof, that's all. That's super fire because I really enjoyed Rebels. Rebels is super underrated.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it, motherfucker? Oh, Lee. Rebels is Clone Wars upgraded. You can see the style that came out of Rebels in the last season of Clone Wars when they went back to redo it. A little bit of that, but it's like Clone Wars meets something else. I want to say it's like this, okay? And you're gonna not love this reference, but hold on for a second. Okay. It's kind of like a better version of Legend of Korra to Avatar, in that it is that to the Clone Wars, and it's with like a small cast and crew having a really good time, but it's done way better than Legend of Korra is done, because it's the creators are more the people who made the Clone Wars, like, working on this. So it's really worth watching, and you should. And plus there's Thrawn in it. Like Thrawn
I've seen all the episodes of Thrawn in it. So
you Cliff Noting Rebels?
Yeah, it was my first Cliff Noting. It was my first Cliff Noting. You were not upset until you found out just right now.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care where you started. Don't make it no better.
But okay, I will say that I am really interested. I was annoyed at the concept of Ray Stevenson's character being another Jedi that survived the Order 66, and I'm like, just how many fucking Jedi survived? At this point, they had enough people to restart the Jedi Council. But at the same time, they're all it's so someone did the math on TikTok, which I actually found it rather interesting. They were like, okay, if there were 10,000 Jedis when Order 66 happened, if 1% of them survived, that's still 100 people. So,
yeah. But where were they spread out? Because if you don't have a system, if you don't have a thing to bring each other together, and you're all being hunted no matter what, it's not like you can just turn around and just be like, oh, here's a cruiser and we're just going to start doing stuff. No.
And also, these, let's say hypothetically 100, 150 Jedi survived. And that's ranges from knights, masters, and even Padawans who lost their masters, but they survived. Ultimately, they had Darth Vader hunting them for 20 years.
Yeah.
We know that shit got dark. So I'm just saying, I was getting kind of annoyed of hey, another Jedi survived Order 66, but they went bad. But after watching Ray Stevenson, throw people around, being all badass and seemingly using the dark side to be a better Jedi, or not even a better Jedi, just being someone who could actually protect the galaxy, I'm not against it. I loved Ray Stevenson. I'm sad to hear his passing, but I was gonna watch it anyway, but I'm glad to watch him now. Just putting up. It's good to have our viewer Courtney back. She's saying a hot take. Don't worry about saying something is better than Korra, because the Avatar: The Last Airbender is proof of that, anyways. Korra, let's just say that Korra didn't ingratiate fans as much as they would have liked.
I love Korra. Some people haters. That's all there is.
I'm just saying that the character was a little too unlikable for my taste, and also and this is not the character's fault. The writing was rushed. They tried to do full story arcs. I'm not hating. I'm just saying there's some issues.
Okay. Anyways, I had a question for you. I was preparing, and we just gonna move off with that Korra stuff because I ain't got all day. So, quick question: which family you think produces better actors, Skarsgårds or Milkinsons? Yeah, I was thinking of that when you said, I'm like, it's Lars. Oh, it's his brother. I'm like, oh, that's two powerhouses. And I was like, oh, Skarsgårds. They got some powerhouses too. Probably Milkinsons though. They're probably stronger. But they're both in that category of being able to go super far and be super creepy or super scary and intimidating and dominating kind of people. Yeah. By the way, Tech says we ain't gonna move on. We're gonna revisit this Korra shit later. That's a section for another podcast.
I'm fine with that. I am fine for that.
Man, you triggered him in the middle of that.
Yo, Darcy, you kind of wrinkled my brain. I don't know how to like hold up because there's more Skarsgårds, but at the same time, the Mikkelsons are coming in hot.
I gotta say that. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say the Mikkelsons have a stronger track record because I think the Skarsgårds have a few misses, and there's more of them to create more potential misses, but they're not big misses. That's about it.
All right, we're gonna come back to that question when we also do another episode about Korra when Tactix is around. But yeah, okay. Nonetheless, that's a good question, man. Nonetheless, we excited for Ahsoka. Well, we don't know, like, so with Blue Beetle and also with Ahsoka. Yeah, but those Wayans brothers.
Yo, the Wayans brothers is fire, but that's not the same category I put them in. Yeah, I'm not gonna be out here talking about Homie the Clown in the same conversation as Hannibal, okay? Tactics, like, it's just not like rock a sock and eating people's flesh are two completely different types of acting, okay? For those who don't know, the rock a sock is a character from the skit comedy sketch in Living Color where Homie the Clown has a sock full of rocks and beats the kids when they don't listen.
I remember watching that a long time ago. We're that all right. Wow, I don't even know what to do with that, but like, yeah. So moving on to our next trailer. Now, this was something I will admit I didn't even know was being made. When I clicked on the link and it first started, I'm like, what the F is this? At the same time, beyond anything I could have expected, I ended up actually liking this trailer. So the TV series, so a trailer for a TV series with Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatrice, basically Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, calling her anything other than Rosa just feels weird. But yeah, so Peacock has a TV series for Twisted Metal coming out. This is based off the combat video game franchise. And this picture did not inspire anything of me. I just clicked. To be honest, I clicked.
Umar,
on the
quick question. Have you played the video game?
I have not. I've seen.
Okay. This is why when you had like no context going in this. Just for a little bit of context for anyone who's not played this video game, because I played this a bunch when I was a kid, and it was Twisted Metal 2. I was super in love with because they used, this is back when obviously everything was on CDs, and they used to send a soundtrack CD that goes with the video game if you got spot like a deluxe version, and I used to rock that soundtrack over and over again. There was some dope tracks on it, but basically what this was is PlayStation's answer to Mario Kart, and they basically made the hellish version where you drive cars and shoot guns and rockets at each other around a racetrack. It looked more like realistic cars than how Mario Kart looks like kid stuff, but it was a response to Mario Kart, really. It's just like, oh, you're gonna do Mario Kart, let's do Mario Kart rated R. So that's the fundamental. That's the concept, okay? It's just like, so there's not as much of there is a story in there about it's being post-apocalyptic and you know, the world's run, whatever, but you don't really play that part. You just Mario Kart the game.
Okay, I did not get this. The only thing I figured is when like the clown guy showed up at the end, I was like, this feels like it's like a game reference. Turns out it was a game adaptation. Yeah. So okay,
he's a staple character, and he's on the cover for everything. I will say that clown on the top of the ice cream truck is a little bit off in accuracy. It's a little bit Sonic the Hedgehog because there's a very specific look to that thing. But yeah, he's like the staple character. He's the badass who comes and kills you, basically.
Okay, so just giving some comments up. Tactix is saying, I used to love this game.
Got the wrong one there. Sorry. I thought you were going to go for Courtney first.
No. Tactix is saying that he used to love this game, so he's with you on this one, Darcy. And then Courtney is saying Twisted Metal was one of the 5 PS1 games I owned as a kid, and I played the crap out of it, despite the fact that it scared the crap out of me. And also, Umar, you can borrow my PS1. Thank you. And then Tactix says, it seems as though they've cracked the code for video game movies, or at the very least coming close. Let's hope it translates to this. I'm not going to disagree with that Tactix, because based on okay, I'll just jump into what I thought of the trailer. I was laughing my ass off like about a quarter of the way through, and Anthony Mackie is like when I saw this and like the trailer ended, I was like, I could literally hear him in my head going, "Cut the check," because like he nailed that trailer, and I was laughing despite myself. I only clicked on it because I was like, oh, it's Anthony Mackie and it's Rosa. Might as well see what this is. And then like they start like doing all this crazy shit, and like Nev Campbell's in this. And I was like, hey girl. I had a small crush on Nev Campbell. And
yeah, we all did. We all did.
That's fair. So I'm with Tactix on this. If this trailer is any representation of what the series is going to be about, someone has given the formula to studios on how to crack the video game adaptation stuff, because we are in some sort of like renaissance of video game adaptions right now. So I was laughing. I enjoyed it. I sent it to everyone being like, yo, guys, check this out. And I thought you guys would be like, what the fuck are you showing me? And like, well, Darcy, how about you take it at this point? Like, what did you think of the trailer?
I mean, I was hesitant between the first like teaser and this. And I will say I'm really looking forward to it by the end of the trailer, but I will say that I was apprehensive through the whole trailer. Like I probably need to rewatch it. I'll probably enjoy certain parts in the beginning a little bit more, because it's like there's like that part of me when I was a kid is like, is it gonna elicit those feelings? Because like for instance, I'm looking up old pictures of Twisted Metal, like, you know, there's like 5 versions of this game, right? Like so many releases. And one of them, for instance, so in general, one of the things that's different about the clown that they can't adapt into this, they have the hair come at the side and the mask right, but he actually his head, the top of his head's supposed to be on fire all the time. So like that's not adaptable. And you get to play as him if you want. One of the game releases, his vehicle is literally 2 giant, the big monster trucks that like carry like dirt around. He has 2 tires for either of those and 2 Gatling guns under either arms, and that's his whole vehicle. He's just standing there shooting Gatling guns with 2 giant wheels. Like it's like a cross between like, it's like Mario Kart meets what's that movie that we had not too long ago, going through a desert, had Tom Hardy, and it was
Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, so think of like if you turned Mario Kart into Mad Max Fury Road. That's the video game. And you can start to see that in your head. Like Mad Max with the weird, crazy, everyone's got a different thing.
I kind of got that vibe.
Yeah, and so I'm excited for this. By the end of the trailer, I was like super excited because it was like all this weird stuff, and I'm like, okay, it feels like I'm gonna lean into it. I'm also excited because it's a show, not a movie. This won't land as a movie. Like, what story you're gonna tell me other than, unless you go heavy Mad Max and you kind of adapt the story, or you kind of adapt something, but you're gonna miss parts of it. Whereas just, you gotta let it breathe a little bit. You gotta let me like enjoy the fan service a bit. And so, and I think that Rosa, I mean, I think, and it sounds like she pulled a little bit of a Rosa voice into this. And
I'm
so
glad. Her normal voice freaks me out.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that I want her to act in her normal voice and other things, but in this,
I know, but still,
Rosa is the perfect. Just take that Rosa out and put her in here. That's perfect. Like that's a great casting. Anthony Mackie, I really hope that like by the end of this, I don't feel like his comedy doesn't hit. But I really hope that like at the end of this, we're like, yeah, he's a good comedic actor. And if is he what kind of comedic? But yeah, I'm excited for this. I don't think it's going to be the best thing. Like I don't think it's going to like beat The Last of Us or anything like that in terms of being the best comic book adaptation, or sorry, video game adaptation. But as long as it's like good and how do I say it? Like there's parts of it that are bad, but you love it because it's 100% leaning into something that's not taking itself overly serious.
Yeah. Also, the clown is being voiced by Will Arnett, and like the body, however, is someone called Samoa Joe, who is a professional wrestler.
Yeah, that makes about sense. Yeah, you need somebody who feels overweight and powerful at the same time.
Yeah, because like when Darcy told me this off air, and I kind of had a similar thought. Originally, when I first saw him, I'm like, did Will Arnett gain a lot of weight for this role? But I was like, that's not possible. He's like a much taller person than this person. So I went and checked. I'm like, okay, thank God.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that clown mask is on point, and the clown energy better be there, which is, it basically just should feel like a guy who's descending into Pennywise. Like,
pretty much. Yeah. And yes, Courtney, Will Arnett is the voice of the clown. She was like asking Will Arnett ? All I'll be able to think of while watching is BoJack.
By the way, random, but I kind of hope there's energy from this show that I'm going to try to remember the name of. Did you see the Netflix show that was like post-apocalyptic, but it was all teenagers and they were like spending most of their time in a mall? It was one of the Netflix's like original shows back when Netflix was still in the early phases of dropping all the original shows. Let me see if I can look it up. Netflix, teenage post-apocalyptic.
For me, yeah, the only one I would think of is the 100, but it's definitely not that.
No. Oh, it was called Daybreak.
No, I did not see that.
Oh, I hope they bring some of that Daybreak energy into this, because it's like, it was really fun. Like, I want it to be like a more hard R version of like Daybreak. Daybreak was really good, but it only lasted 2 seasons. It had room for more, but Netflix, they cancel shit if it doesn't make them enough money. So
I hear that. Yeah, they really like their stuff. Okay, so moving on. So we are going to fully leave trailers now, and we are going to start talking about some set picks.
Ooh.
So I'm sure most people have seen by this point, but earlier this week, Deadpool 3 released some pretty impressive, noteworthy, scream-worthy, really happy set picks. And the set picks, as you can see, is our amazing, fantastic Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine and in a comic accurate costume. Now, in terms of the comic accurate part, there have some fairly loud individuals online, and I will admit that I agree to them until I find out the reasons why. But people were saying, why is he having sleeves? Because the comic accurate costume would be all of that minus the sleeves, because Wolverine never wore sleeves. And after seeing pictures of the work that Hugh Jackman put in to get back into shape for Deadpool 3 for this role, everyone's like, did they really need to cover his arms? Like it wasn't even part of the costume. Like, why would you take away all of that? Turns out that Hugh Jackman has currently, he is said to be clean and either recovered or overcome, or finding that it wasn't, but he was battling some level of skin cancer. So the sleeves have been meant to protect him. So after hearing that, I'm like, you know what? I don't need the sleeves that bad. But given the fact that they're trying to like save the man some skin cancer, and also a little bit going to Tactix' point, they got to put that mask on that, bro.
Yeah, I want to see the mask.
I want to see the mask so badly. Sorry.
Yeah. And those sleeves, like it looks nice, and I even forgot that he didn't have sleeves until people started talking about it. I just saw the costume, I'm like, oh, that looks dope. Like my brain didn't think about the need for sleeves. And I would say that like Hugh Jackman is a very built guy. But if you were actually get all the way to accurate, one, he'd be a hell of a lot shorter, and two, his arms would be accurate, would still be a hell of a lot bigger. His arms would be 3 times the mass that they are right now, and that's far more achievable when you're shorter. Like to have a visual circumference of massive muscle. So like I don't really need it to be 100% accurate to the point that it would start reminding me, and I'd be comparing his arms to an unrealistic standard, extremely unrealistic standard. Because Wolverine's arms were an unrealistic standard.
He was huge.
His arms are too large in proportion to the rest of his body.
His arms were bigger than his head.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that someone like there have been some really like let's just say the internet has taken this. These set like oh yeah, you want to say something?
Sorry, Courtney put up a really nice little comment here. He might lose his sleeves or rip them off in an indoor scene if we are all seeing it outdoor so far. That's a good point. Even Tactix was asking about the mask, and like my guess is like Deadpool is gonna do some like teleportation stuff and force like Wolverine into this outfit outside of his control just before the scene, and that's part of the reason maybe why he's gonna get the blades through his forehead, because he's like, what is this outfit you basically have me in? And then he rips the sleeves off when he goes inside because he just doesn't like the outfit. He's just trying to take it off.
So okay, I had a point that I wanted to make, and I'm going to use Tactix' comment as a jumping board off it. So Tactix says, "This is why we can't have nice things. This suit is damn near perfect. Look how long it took us for us to get to this point. Damn near facts, but also it took us 23 years for us to get to this point." Because and like Darcy, you and Tactix, I sent the image of like it was an Instagram post of like we had like the black uniform from like X-Men 1, 2, and 3. Then we had the like armored version from A Days of Future Past. We did have the comic accurate, somewhat accurate Weapon X from X-Men. I don't want to say, it's not the Phoenix one, it was the other one. Apocalypse from X-Men Apocalypse. And now we have Deadpool 3 giving us comic accurate. And like guys, Tactix is right. We have waited 23 years, and yes, this is not superbly 100% comic accurate, but it's accurate fucking enough. Like, yep. Guys, we had Avi Arad stopping anyone from having anything close to their comic accurate outfits. Even Magneto had his thing taken up. Juggernaut. Everyone had non-accurate things in the Fox universe because Avi Arad was like, no, guys, no one wants to see like a comic accurate one. It's ridiculous. People are going to scoff at it. And it's like, so you gave us people in black for 15 years. And now when MCU came out 10 years ago saying, hey, we're going to do some relatively comic accurate stuff slowly but surely. And guess what? Even the layman's were like, ooh, I like his costume. So fuck you all. And we got the Wolverine comic accurate outfit. And we got Hugh Jackman come back. God bless you, Ryan Reynolds.
Exactly.
Like another Canadian who's giving us some represent right now. And also another Markham thing. He's opening a studio in Markham. So like, dope. One last thing before I'm going to pass back to you, Darcy. How do I put this? We're going to get a rated R Deadpool 3, and we're going to have Wolverine and Deadpool clearly fight each other.
Yeah. Yeah. For those you didn't understand what that was, that's Umar exacerbating over the excitement. It not just like all of a sudden our microphone stopped working. Those are the podcast.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that we're a podcast. But like, I need to see this fight, and we have only had one Wolverine. Like we've had 7 Supermen, 5 Batmen, 3 Spider-Men. 2 levels of X-Men, but only one Wolverine.
Yeah, he's most consistent. And I mean, overall, I'm just excited. Like, how long is it going to take to get this film? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
bring me all of this, every bit of it. When you said the rated R aspect, like, we got to see Wolverine do some rated R in his prior film, and yeah, and that was really good. I would say, it was. I don't want to say it's tame because none of it was really tame, but it was like, tastefully done, not a raunchy film overall. But like, we got to see people's arms go into 3 pieces, which you always knew that was a thing, but you never got to see it, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people getting stabbed. But I'm like, I'm just thinking, like, are we gonna see like Deadpool's head split into 2 pieces and then he's still talking, right?
There
and
was
his like mouth is in one place and his
literal,
eyes are in another place.
there was a literal set piece where you see something red in Wolverine's arm. And I'm like, did he cut off his fucking leg?
Because have you seen, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pull this. Of course you've seen this. When Wolverine, Deadpool, and the X team, whatever the right name, Task Force X, fought the Hulk.
Oh, you mean Hulk versus the animated one? Yeah, that was Weapon X. It was Deadpool, Sabretooth, Omega Red, Lady Deathstrike, and Wolverine was like their target, but they used the Hulk to kind of like get around that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know what part you're talking about.
Yeah, because like Wolverine cuts Deadpool's leg off on part, and then he's like making all these jokes with arm. Oh yeah, but it was like, I'm like, I have a feeling that they're just gonna take notes from that for their fight because it's just like a right thing to do. You know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm like, we're just gonna get to see like, because I feel like people have seen a lot of what Deadpool's mayhem is when he's all like beat up, but like, are we gonna see it like get even worse? Where it's like, again, and this is totally random, but like One Piece is having an episode, like a thing where the characters get cut up and they're still alive, and I'm like, are we gonna see something where like like Deadpool's getting put back together like an improper puzzle piece? Like he's got his leg on backwards or something like that, you know, like is that kind of craziness gonna happen? But Umar, question here. You've heard some of the rumors for this film, right?
Before we get into that, because
okay, fine. Okay, that's where I want to go.
I just want to say, I want to put up Tactix's comment. He says, in all fairness, not all comic book accurate costumes work. Look at Hawk and Dove from Titans. Them motherfuckers look whack as fuck. Accurate, but hella whack. LOL. Tell me I'm wrong. I hear you. Maybe Avi Arad should have been on Titans and stopping that shit from happening. I give you that one. But like 90%, like 90% of the time we've gotten more comic accurate stuff. We've been like, not just comic book people have been happy, like everyday people have been happy. So yeah, like Hawk and Dove are an exception.
I say just because our costumes suck. Like that's the problem.
That too.
Their costumes just suck. Like even when I saw it drawn, I was like not excited by it. I mean, I will say that Titans did bring us one of the best, if you know what I'm saying, not costume scenes. For those who know, that surprised me in a good way. But I will say that the rest of Titans, the costumes was never the real problem. In terms of for the Titans, it was the writing was the problem for that show, because like the costumes were always on point. Even Hawk and Dove was extremely accurate. It was just not the best costume. Like that was the one place where you should have reinvented them, because it was like the source material sucked. That was your problem.
No, 100%. Okay, so Darce, the rumor. So just as we have gotten many set pics of Deadpool 3. The last week, we have gotten a lot of rumors for Deadpool 3. So, Darcy, how about you lead us through that one, man?
Well, I know of one. You may know of more, so you can enlighten me afterwards. But the general rumor that I heard, that I want with passion to come through, is that this movie is going to be, because there was a guy who was doing an interview and was talking to, I think, the creator of Deadpool, or someone like on the comic side, but not a person in charge of the movie. And he's like, the second he told him the idea in an interview, he's like, I would sign that in a second. I am not the right person for that, but I would sign that in a second. And I have a feeling he turned around and went and told them, like, this is what you need to do. And the idea is that it is Deadpool kills the Fox universe. That because there is Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, but since now they bought out Fox, it's like, how would he just go through and kill off all of that stuff, and whatever doesn't get killed gets pulled into Marvel. And I was like, and that's how you could pull Hugh Jackman into Marvel if he wants to stick around. But that's how, like, and the general premise of the story is that he works for the TVA. So the TVA ends up pulling him out of his universe. The stuff he did at the end of his last film where he went back and he ended up killing off his old self and stuff like that, like the other version of Deadpool, causes an incursion, breaks the timelines, and he has to now go and fix the problems himself. But he ends up, whether it's their design or his own, decides to go off and kill the entire Fox universe, which would just be an amazing, hilarious way to acknowledge that these other things exist, but they don't exist anymore because we don't want them to exist in our world, except for the few things we want to handpick and pull over because we like them. And I just think that would just be genius, hilarious, and how to put this? The best movie studio acquisition move ever made. Because it's like, we killed you off, even in our movies.
Honestly, like, the rumors I've been hearing have been like small and stuff, but like what they've all been saying is every member of the X-Men franchise, both the older version and the younger version, are all coming back for either cameos or for scenes. People have been thinking that Ian McKellen's Magneto is going to be the main villain.
Yeah.
And that they're also going to have MCU's Wanda, MCU's She-Hulk, and MCU's Ms. Marvel in it as well. And It's basically, yeah, like, so, and the thing is, Elizabeth
also Ben Affleck and his ex-wife. Oh gosh, I can't remember.
Jennifer Garner.
Thank you. I just suck with names. You know this, but yeah, they're going to be coming back. So it's basically like everything Marvel pre-MCU might come in here for him to take care of it.
Exactly. And people are saying that this is going to be the end game of franchises. And I'm like, wow.
Literally. And the best part of that is nobody can come back after he's done. Like, it's like if he doesn't kill him off, then it's like, what was the, like, why would they show up later? You know, it's like, we just went through the whole multiverse and killed all these people. Like, we don't need them anymore. Like, that's a statement.
There was, and also in the earlier talks, like, now granted, this was, I think, more of a joke than a rumor, but people were saying if like Marvel decided to get rid of Jonathan Majors due to the controversy, the person to do it was Deadpool, where he would basically like kill Jonathan Majors, and then like another Kang would show up, and he's like, all right, I mean, maybe that'll work out. And I was like, wow. So let's just say that Ryan Reynolds has definitely put himself in a situation where like him leaking the footage for Deadpool made him the most pivotal person in this entire merger.
Yeah, it's and you know what's also good about this is that, so it's R-rated. It's definitely not going to be for a lot of little kids, but in reality, a lot of the movies he's killing off, these kids weren't even born. So it's like, it's pure fan service. And if you bring that many people and they drop a trailer and there's just person after person after person, there's just going to be a lot of people showing up. Like, it's like watching Tom Cruise bring back Top Gun. You know, it's just
look
like,
how well that did. Yeah,
but it's just paying homage and fan service to people who, you know, love this or love that and just want to see this thing for just a second. It's you know, going to see Flash for Batman, you know, like, it's just all of these different things that are exciting, and you don't have to sell it to little kids. And it's also, for the hardcores, ties into the MCU, gives people in the MCU something, but likely is mostly separated enough, like it's connected and has effects on things, but then at the same time, many of the events in there are just for the people who are hardcore or want to go watch nostalgia but don't I'm saying it won't be required. It feels like for everything else, but if you watch it, you'll get way more benefit out of everything else.
Yeah. Now, the thing about Deadpool 3, which kind of tying back to what I was saying at the very beginning of the podcast, like Deadpool 3 was still like these images were taken while technically speaking, Deadpool 3 wasn't allowed to like write anything. And we've even talked about with the writer strike that's going on for the last couple of months, how the hell is Deadpool happening when like 90% of their script is ad-libbed?
Yeah.
But now officially Deadpool has been like production has been stopped because like
I mean,
I know.
It is all hurts. I want the people to get paid. It just sucks that we have to be the ones who also pay a price along with it. But it's the only way the studios listen.
Well, the studios are they're saying that they're going to like let the writer strike continue, or I should say like the strike continue.
By not sitting down at the table for a few months.
Yeah, so that the writers can lose their houses and therefore be in a vulnerable position.
That's such an a-hole move.
And this is on the back of them saying when they were at a $1 million retreat, saying these people are asking too much. I'm like, they're asking to have proper wages and to avoid being replaced by AI. You're literally at a retreat that you took a private jet to.
Yeah, I mean, there are elements like let's say we don't take the a-hole studio owner and let's take the decent studio owner who actually cares. There are problems in that they have massive financial debts, right? Like none of these things run on just like they're just sitting there with $100 million of cash sitting around in the bank account, just like, oh, I don't know what to do with my money. Like it's not Scrooge McDuck out here, you know. There, you got that visual in your head now.
That was a great visual.
Like everything is done with debt, right? Like at large scale, and so there are people who have their debts. The problem is that they don't want to share the pie that's left, and in the reality is because you haven't want to share that pie and you want to push that the people at the bottom have to work harder for less, then you are creating a scenario where you get less quality out, and they're not investing in the quality, they're investing in the quantity and just trying to push out the money, but it's pushing down the amount of people going to see the stuff, and that's making your margin thinner. Someone turns around and invests more in the people who create better stuff, then we're going to end up watching fewer things, but more at like a higher volume of people watch it, and they'll make that money. So you're just thinking the wrong way around.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, like Tactix is saying that you can't stop Ryan Reynolds. He'll find a way. I feel this one's a pretty strong one. He doesn't really want to betray the strike, but maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll like post video chats with him and Hugh Jackman just talking about their kids or something. I don't know. But nonetheless, moving on to our next topic. So we got our first scene preview clip for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie that's coming out this early in like 2 weeks. And I'm going to jump ahead right now. It's like a 1.5 minute scene. It has the turtles basically all 4 of them being put on a mission to get groceries from Splinter without being seen.
Yeah, but look at the seriousness of this shot.
I love the seriousness of the shot. I love how basically everything about that scene was exactly what I hoped the movie was going to be about. Like we were talking about it, we were seeing the trailer, we were like talking back and forth, hoping what would happen. But this scene. Now, if I had, let's say I had no hope for this movie, which I wasn't. I was hyped for this movie. This took me to another level of hype.
Yeah.
This scene was perfect, and I wish Tactix was here for me to say it, but like he's watching us right now, so don't get too mad at me, bro. It was bothering me in the beginning that Michelangelo and Donatello's voices were, as you put it, swapped. I got used to it by the end, man. I was fine by the end, so I'll be fine during the movie.
You know what I actually learned to realized by the end of that trailer is that you're used to seeing Michelangelo be high toned and
Yeah.
funny, but I don't find Donatello to be a jokester. He's just so high toned. He sounds like what you would think Michelangelo to be.
Yeah.
But I started to see a little bit of Michelangelo being um he's not as high tone bumbly funny. He's more like the quick-witted and almost a touch dry, but not entirely. Like he's an adventurous person, but it's almost like his humor comes off as like a quick whip in a moment. You're like, wait,
Yeah.
what? Kind of a thing. But this scene though, like the absolute seriousness transitioning to this visual here, where they're just like the complete opposite visually, and and I like it too because it's like Across the Spider-Verse, they're doing a job of using a different animation style to
Yeah.
represent the difference in the mood, and from a teenager's perspective or a kid's perspective, that's how you would feel in that moment.
Yeah.
Like this moment, I feel like the badass like feudal Japan ninja. This other moment, I'm just like a kid.
And the thing is, I love like okay. Let me just put Tactix comments on. He says this looks fun. They act like teenagers, which is refreshing. Because considering how great the first live action movie was, they don't really come off as teens.
No.
100% agree with that. And then he's like, and the voice still bugs me. It may grow on me. I think it will because it grew on me. But what I loved about this is like the movie, the clip started off with what you kind of expected to be like an intense film, and like literally transitioned to everyone being like, dude, why are you talking like that? Like, shut up, man. I'm doing my podcast voice. And it's like, what are you, Batman? It's like, and then they just start arguing like brothers. And it's like, yo, and like I loved when they started talking about like I think it was like Raph who was like, yo, I love Drake. Yo, he's a goat. And he's the goat. And I was like, what is happening right now? This is amazing. Like seriously, did they literally? I would believe you if they just let those kids talk in the studio room, because
Yeah.
like it's that level good.
A loose script and just go kind of a thing. Like let him run it 3 or 4 times, see what you get.
Yeah. So like I am like I am 100% sold on this movie, and if we get like Into the Spider-Verse or Beyond the Spider-Verse level Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, I'm gonna lose my shit. Like this scene, for those of you who are watching, unfortunately for those on the pod who are just listening on the podcast, this scene is the serious, no color eyes, Leo looking at a parchment. The parchment is his grocery list. His first thing is yogurt.
But it looks like the way he's holding it, they make it look like it's like a mission handed down to a ninja in like feudal like Japan or ancient China, where where it's gonna be written in almost like a Yoda-ish kind of way of the mission he has to embark on, and it's like, yeah, no, just go around the corner and get some yogurt. There was also like, what was it? Some comment like, make sure it's not this, because like, oh yeah, because he double underlined it or something. He's like, I think it's important. He double underlined it.
Which is like exactly like if you give a teenager like a responsibility, he's gonna be like, is this what this means? I'm sure this is what it means because it's underlined. And like, but like, okay, when it came to the 2012 animated series, when they went into like warrior mode, ninja mode, fighting mode, and like the eyes go blank, because like otherwise you have like their eye colors there, but like or their pupils, but it's like the eyes go blank because they're in ninja mode. They took that, it was like, yeah, but what if we do that when they're doing something as quote unquote intense as reading a grocery list, which is this image. And it's like they got the assignment, they understood the assignment, and I am all here for it.
Yeah, this looks like it's gonna be absolutely amazing on every level.
Yeah. So so I am all in for this movie. I cannot wait to watch it. So like I said I was gonna stop watching, but I had to watch this clip. But now officially I'm gonna stop watching anything else that comes out.
Are you sure about that, Umar? Are you sure that's the last clip you're gonna watch? Or are you gonna cliff note the rest of these trailers?
I will not clip note this movie. You can't clip note this movie.
Oh yeah, you clip note this movie, you're going to be off the Geeky Bros podcast.
I deserve to have my geeky status revoked if I clip note this. All right, moving on to our final topic. Like I said, guys, we've got a lot going on. So, James Gunn, who we've talked about before, is currently writing. He's written and he's casting the Superman Legacy film. He already casted the Superman and Lois Lane. We have David Corn Sweat. I hope that's how you say his name, and Rachel Brosnahan as Superman, Clark Kent, and Lois Lane, respectively. However, yes, this is a perfect image. However, we got 4 additional castings in the last 3 days. The first big one is Superman Legacy is going to have a Hawkgirl, a Mr. Terrific, and Guy Gardner. And they're going to be played by Isabella Merced, Edie Gathegi, and Nathan Fillion, respectively. Now, I would say I am not aware of Isabella Merced. I've never watched any. I don't think I've watched anything she has been in. Edie Gathegi, I'm glad has been cast because my man was done dirty in X-Men Days of Future Past. Like, he was the most immortal individual, and they killed him for no apparent reason. And it was kill the black dude first. Like, I was just like, are you serious? You're really? Like, the one guy who couldn't die is the one you kill. And then
I watched so many the same video like 3 times on YouTube about people talking about how he's the most OP character.
Yes.
And yet, what did he die from in that movie? Like, the one thing he couldn't adapt to was what again?
So, like, they put energy, like, basically redirected energy in his body, like, through his mouth. So he digested like this big bomb in his body. In the comics, he just turned to energy that was compatible with the energy.
Yeah, like, it's just pathetic that the way they treat that character. So yeah, he needs a retrieval.
Yeah, and Mr. Terrific is a great character. I will say, I do now. For those of you who don't know, Guy Gardner is one of the Green Lanterns, but he is the most hated Green Lantern because he's basically the jock Green Lantern of the group. Like, yeah, he's a nice guy in the sense that he saves people's lives, but like, no one wants him around. He's the frat boy.
No.
And so, like, Nathan Fillion, I will say he is capable of doing the role, but like, I'm just going to put it out there, not to be ageist, but like, Nathan Fillion is kind of aged out of the character.
Well, I think that's kind of the point. I think he's I think James Gunn is bringing him in to do the same thing he did with the last character in Suicide Squad, which is in the same universe. Like, he's just bringing him in to like kill him off in some kind of way.
Yeah, because he's 52, and the character has always been like 30.
Yeah,
sorry, Courtney, to answer your question, she says, "Dear God, please don't do that to Nathan Fillion's beautiful hair, though." We have got it confirmed that the mushroom cut is coming back.
Yeah, I don't think you can totally believe this character to be as annoying as he is without that ugly ass haircut. Yes. I love the scene. I forget which one it's from, but when it's Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and they're like, "Any more Green Lanterns? No, like, just no more." Like, is there one guy? No. And they're just both like, no. It's like
that was a scene from first season of Young Justice, and like, they were thinking about expanding the Justice League, for those of you who don't know.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was like it was Wally West was like, I think we could use more raw power, and I think Earth has another Green Lantern, and like, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan were like, no, and they're like, no, but like, can't we add him to and they're like, no. And they just like shut it down, and it didn't go any further. Like, he is the asshole Green Lantern. And I like the fact that they got like Nathan Fillion can play it. And I think you're right, Darcy. James Gunn is known for using Nathan Fillion as a throwaway character. So if he kills Guy Gardner in 2 minutes, I will be on the floor.
he just brings him in to die. It's like the world is in peril. Guy Gardner dies, and you're like, okay, well, moving on.
And it would be like, ladies, please, I can take care of this, and like get stabbed by a pencil because it's yellow, and like he's just like, oh my god. Because for those of you who don't know, like in the like 60s, when actually Nathan Fillion could have been a good Alan Scott, who was the first Green Lantern, but like he was like a earthbound Green Lantern who had a cape, and he was basically wood. Wood was like his weakness, and then they're like another weakness of Green Lantern was the color yellow. So people would joke, it's like, so like a pencil could kill a Green Lantern, and everyone was like, anyway. So Mr. Terrific is basically the most intelligent, or one of the most intelligent characters in DC. Like his superpower is intelligence.
We saw an amazing depiction of him in the Arrowverse, by the way. That was sarcasm. Yeah, moving on.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that Edie doesn't get killed in this as well. It would be really nice if they didn't kill him in this. Because
if they bring him in to kill him early, then they literally just want to play on the black guy dies trope. Because it's like, we're just gonna take the same black guy and kill him off first again. Thanks.
They can't. Again, I don't know. Darcy, have you ever heard of Isabella Merced?
No, but I was looking it up while you were talking, and she has been in some films. I don't know exactly the roles, but I'll name a couple that you will recognize the names or the franchises of. Transformers Last Night and Transformers from 2007. She also was in Sicario Day of Soldado. You didn't watch the original Transformers?
Oh, she was in the first Transformers?
Apparently. I don't know what role. Maybe she was like a background character. And then Father of the Bride, Rosalina, Let It Snow, Madam Web 2024. Oh, she's coming up in something.
Oh, no. She's in the 2024 one. That's so...
Yeah. Spirited Untamed. I was going to say Spirited Away. And then Dora the Lost City. I think she might have been the lead actress in that.
Okay, I wouldn't have known this character. There was also one additional casting. It was Anthony Carrigan is going to be playing Metamorpho, and excuse me. I will say that aside from my reservations over the age of Nathan Fillion, none of these characters have been miscast to my side. Like, I don't know who Isabella Merced is. I'm going to give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't done a bad casting. A friend of mine did say something to me that I think is something worth putting out, though. He said that if you're looking for comic accurate personality types and comic accurate histories, James Gunn is not really known for that. Because Guardians of the Galaxy, a lot of the characters were very different from what they were in the comics.
Yeah, I heard that.
And that's a fair criticism, if it's a criticism. Now, going back to what
but he made them amazing, and he made Star-Lord into something that people love, because Star-Lord's not known for being as lovable as Chris Pratt's character.
No, the Guardians of the Galaxy were DE level characters.
Yeah.
They are now among the most recognizable. Like, people everywhere can say, I am Groot. That was not before Guardians. So I feel it's fine if James Gunn has a little bit of creative freedom, but it does sound like he's like being very focused. I'm interested to see Hawkgirl. I'm sure Tactix is very happy that we got rid of Hawkman entirely.
I was just thinking about that when I saw her. I'm like, I wonder.
So, Tactix doesn't have to punch a screen the next time he sees Hawkman, because Hawkman not going to be in this situation anymore.
Yeah.
And Nonetheless, I would say that these castings are showing a rather interesting aspect, and I think James Gunn said it best. So someone had written on a comment when Anthony Carrigan was cast for Metamorpho. Someone said, "I thought this was about this movie was about Superman." And James Gunn responded by saying, and I gotta say, I'm loving James Gunn on Twitter and responding to people. He's just top notch. He said, Superman is a man of two worlds, Clark with Lois, Jimmy, and Perry. And then Superman with his meta-human compatriots. How could I tell a full story about Clark, Superman, without including all areas of his life?
Yeah.
This man understands the assignment.
Yep.
So I'm like, I do have some questions, but they're not questions that like, what the fuck are you doing, James Gunn? I'm like, more like, where are you taking this? I'm intrigued. Like, clearly there's going to be a Justice Society or Justice League. I think it's going to be a Justice Society. And we're going to have Superman join in, and maybe they'll go from Justice Society to Justice League under his watch.
Interesting. What was Metamorpho's thing? Was he villain, hero? I'm forgetting.
Oh, he's a hero.
He's a hero. Okay.
Yeah, he's a very powerful hero. Like, let's just say that the characters are not weak. You have a Green Lantern in there with the most powerful, there. You have one of the most powerful brains on Earth, Mr. Terrific. You have Hawkgirl, who is like a relatively heavy hitter from Athanagarians, and also from, like, you know, as you've seen as Black Adam, like they're able to not take on Superman or Black Adam, but they can throw down, and they're skilled.
And I've seen Justice League Unlimited, and yeah.
And then you have Metamorpho, who like is kind of like able to transform into any element. Like he's immortal. He can change into any chemical. Any part of his body can change into any chemical. Like he's basically what we were talking about with Darwin.
Yeah,
how he was like the most OP. Exactly. Like he's like the OP, but he's a low level OP. People don't know about him, but it's like, yo, this guy could literally take on a lot of people and cause some massive harm. So I'm interested to see how Gunn interweaves the story. If it's also going to be a story about Lois and Clark, like from their perspective.
More I hear about this, the more I still lean into my idea with this Gods and Monsters chapter, which is like, what if he has this Justice Society, and what if this story is a telling more from Lois's perspective of the legend, and seeing seeing Superman outside of the superhero, but her showing both sides of it, and maybe it's like she's writing something. For if it 100% goes off my theory, the movie's going to end with Superman passing away, like sacrificing himself, and she's telling the story of how they got there, and it involves the Justice Society and some major event. But then we're going to get a window into Clark from her perspective, but not necessarily in the story. Like it's like we'll step away from what's being written for the public, and we're seeing her personal part of it, and it's going to lead up to something big, and it's going to show us a lot of Clark and Superman's character, and then it's going to show us the gap that's going to be left behind. And I think some of these Justice Society members aren't going to make it either, and it's going to be like we're starting the movie at like a doomsday level event, right? And it's the consequence of the event, not the build up to it. So we're going right in, this big thing, travesty, and now the universe starts, and you're like, what happens now without Superman? And then it goes from there, and it's all the consequences leading up to a second chapter where we have to resolve everything that happened as a consequence because of that. That's I don't know what it is, but everything I see just makes me feel like it's going in that direction.
It's hard to argue that, because there's rumors that they're trying to cast Lex Luthor. Alexander Skarsgård is someone who was being considered. Nicholas Hoult, who didn't get the Superman thing, was also being considered for Lex Luthor. Now, there was a rumor that Daniel Craig was also being considered, but James Gunn said that wasn't it, because frankly, if you're looking at Alexander Skarsgård and also his brother, they were both being eyed for Lex Luthor.
Which one?
Alexander Skarsgård's brother.
He has multiple brothers. That's why
sorry, it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I forget.
Bill Skarsgård. Yeah.
Bill, yeah.
Because just to put it out here, there's Alexander, Bill, Gustav, Stellan, and Walter. So that's why when you're like his brother, I'm like, Brad, you gotta nail this down.
But Stellan is their father.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'll just read the list.
Yeah, but nonetheless, like I would say that, like, yes, Tactix, Pennywise. So like he had, like, James Gunn had both Skarsgårds like going for Lex Luthor. If what you're saying is true, Darce, Lex can fit very well into that story.
Yeah. For me, it's powerful. It's powerful to not, because you don't want to do what Marvel did.
No.
Because you just don't want to, like why tell that same arc, right? We're gonna lead up to the big event. Great, but we've seen that. So we're just gonna tell us we have this giant 10-year waiting period, right? To get something exciting, right? And we've seen that, so we already understand. I think it's far more powerful to start the story in the middle of a big part of the story. There's history before this, and we can always flash back to it as to how we got here and consequences. Like this movie, like the Batman movie, it's a consequence of things we didn't see. Tell us a little bit about that, right? But we're deep into this moment. We gotta pick up in this moment, which is how I felt like a lot of Justice League Unlimited, Young Justice, like a lot of these, well, especially Justice League Unlimited, their episodes would just start and you'd be like, and here's the thing that's happening, and like this is just a story, and it's like, clearly shit's happened before this. Like they're just starting off and referencing for the last few weeks, this has been going on. You're like, I don't need to see the day one from those few weeks ago. This is just a pivotal moment where the story starts.
Also, it's nice that we're starting in a situation where, like, all we've seen is that super beings are emerging. Like, and like we've been there from the start to the end. Like you said, we've gotten and even what Tactix has said in the past, we have gotten Endgame, which means we have got the story told right, which means, like you're saying, let's do something new. And something new would be like, hey, Superman's here. Guess what? There are other superheroes also. And they're all over the place, just like in Justice League Unlimited. It's like, oh, it was just the 7 superheroes. I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was just the 7 of them getting together. Everyone else was like independent and all over the place. It's like, well, okay, well, what does that mean? It means that this movie is proving that Superman is showing up. It's not an origin film, thank God, because, like, I mean, I'm going to say that the 1978 Superman film is the best origin of Superman there has been. We don't need to get another one.
Yeah, I just don't need more origin films. And like,
no.
I won't gonna disagree with you on the best, but give me an origin story for a purpose that is needed in the context of something else, but
exactly
servicing a larger story. But don't give me a origin story just because we need to start and explain all these characters. I think honestly, we have enough superhero stuff in the world that people know that if you're just gonna say this is the world that this story is starting in, they'll take it. And when you introduce a character that I don't know, like Booster Gold, all right, give me a little more time to understand in the first arc who Booster Gold is, but you don't need to explain that their superheroes exist.
Yes, And I think having introducing Metamorpho Hawk Girl, like Metamorpho, like is not a really big story. Guy Gardner, again, trust me, you can get Guy Gardner in one scene in maybe at most 3 lines of dialogue. You will encapsulate all of Guy Gardner in that short amount of time. You don't need no origin film for that guy. We don't need the origin films, and we don't need one step by step of a growing population. We need to be like, hey, I've been doing stuff on my own. Hey, check you out. Hey, check you out. Oh, you're here too. Cool. And then just that be the done.
I just had a really interesting idea. I'm going to go back to this other slide for 1 second.
Go for it.
I think James Gunn, like all directors and writers, they'll take from their pages from their own books, right? Yeah. If you think about Guardians of the Galaxy, it was the first movie to expand Marvel dramatically. The concept that there was a lot of stuff in the universe, like literally in its own universe that we just haven't talked about, right? It's just all of a sudden, bam, it's bigger. We're going to show you a small piece of it, but we're identifying that there's more. And I was thinking of Metamorpho, and I'm like, while you were talking a second ago, I was like, oh yeah, Metamorpho is kind of like Drax. Wait, is he just like building another cast like the Guardians of the Galaxy? And I don't mean like he's exactly like Drax. I just meant like there's something when I looked at him, I was like, oh, he could be like this kind of a character in the grouping of people, not in powers, not or more just like like people who play off of each other. Because for you to build the Guardians of the Galaxy, you have to definitely think about the personalities, and James Gunn very well told a story about all these people growing from different places. Even the person who was the villain who became the highest growth, and became part of the crew. And so it's like this selection of people has to be much deeper from personalities that he wants to tell and what that means and why they're together. Even if it's very short-lived, he's going to want to say something about who Superman is based off of the people around him.
Well, if you're going to take, like, now this is assuming that James Gunn is going to do repeated archetypes, then I would say that Mr. Terrific would be Rocket. I would say that Guy Gardner is Drax. I would say Metamorpho is Groot. And I would say Hawkgirl is obviously
I agree with that.
Gamora.
Yeah, but regardless about it being repeated, it was just more the idea of
I hear what you're saying.
Him instead of it being one person, why do you bring all these people in? And I think it has a lot more to do with using their personalities and what, because he could, if he's gonna have this big event to kill people off, why didn't he just choose other characters?
I just realized something. Guy Gardner is a Green Lantern, which means we actually might get very imaginative constructs.
Oh, yes. Not so boring ones.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Green Lantern has a ring that allows him to, through his willpower, create construct, like anything he can imagine, he can create through his ring. Now, we have in the past not had the most imaginative constructs that we've gotten from like the comics and the animated series. Well, actually, I would say Justice League animated series is by far the worst constructs we've ever gotten because they were just orbs all the time. But it would be very nice if James Gunn was actually like, hey, Guy Gardner is going to do like he could do like a whole sling of like jock frat boy level like constructs, but at least it would be imaginative. So like, I believe in James Gunn.
Yeah, I mean, same. And the fact that, again, he chose these race car construct for the win.
The sad thing is he could do that, T. I could see that Guy Gardner doing that.
Well, Guy Gardner's 100. I'm even looking at a picture of Guy Gardner's 100% going to do a baseball bat with
100%. A big like mitt to capture somebody, or like I don't know, like bullshit like that.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I like that it's a bunch of randoms, like in terms of like people you would have expected to be with Superman, because I think it will bode a lot. Right? Like I feel like there's gonna be a really good emotional connection between Superman and Metamorpho, right? Like just something empathetic between them. I don't know what it is. Something about Metamorpho's character just makes me feel like he's always self-conscious, if I remember him correctly. And
Yeah,
and
because
Superman would just be so warm around him.
Yeah. Yeah, because like Metamorpho's entire life got ruined because of it. Like but like still. But yeah, so like these have been the announcements so far, and as you can see, like we really did rush through all the big ones. There were a lot of other small ones that took place, but as you can see, we're gotten a lot before the writer strike and the actor strike went off. There might be a bit of a cool down in terms of announcements for the next little bit. Nonetheless, I hope that you guys enjoyed watching our coverage of this massive week of news. So, Darcy, I'm going to volley it back to you for our closing remarks. I got to stop doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the podcast if you are watching it on YouTube, or if you go and listen to it on all your favorite podcasting things like Spotify or Apple Music or whatnot. But yeah, that will be it for today. It's another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. My name is Darcy, and
this is Big Geek Umar. Thank you all for all your support, and for the 100 people who have subscribed for our channel. Nice big milestone right there. And we are going to see you guys next week. Live long and prosper, y'all.
I don't know. My audio cut out for a second. I don't know what happened there. Did I talk over you?
I don't know. I didn't think so.
Well, I guess that's another end to the podcast.